So I get up and I start walking over, and I remember I was filled with anxiety, excitement, nervousness, and it was all wrapped up into one emotion. This was the moment that I had been working towards. This was the moment that I had been thinking about for the past 6 months. So I took a deep breath. In 1349, there was an infectious disease called the Black Plague. It was an epidemic that killed 150 million people. But because of modern day medicine, these kinds of epidemics don't really happen anymore. However, there is a new plague that is impacting even more people, and it's not something that you can really be diagnosed with. But most people on Earth have this disease. It controls the things that you say, the things that you do, the things that you think. But most importantly, it controls your potential as a human being. So today, I'm going to share with you a story about how I cured my disease and how you can do it too. I'm from a small island in Canada called Victoria, and on that island, there was a basketball team called the regional team, where all the best players on the island compete against the rest of the province. Anyone who made this team would get this red t-shirt that said Basketball BC on it, and I remember there were these 2 players from that school that wore this t-shirt all the time because they made the team. And oh my god, I was so jealous of these guys. See, this t-shirt was much more than just a t-shirt. It was a symbol of skill, respect, dedication, hard work, but most importantly, it was a symbol of status, which is something that I desperately craved when I was in school. So in order to even try out for the regional team, you had to get invited, which meant you had to try out for the tryouts. Fortunately, these first tryouts were not really too challenging for me to make, and if you watched my previous video, you would know how much I had practiced back in the day. So thankfully, I made the real tryouts relatively easily. I actually still remember when I got the email. It was a Monday afternoon, and I was sitting in my chair in my room, and I saw an email from Basketball BC with the title, "Congratulations," and the email was inviting me to the tryouts that were taking place next Friday, and they were going all the way until Sunday. So it was a Monday, and I had 5 days to prepare. So phase 1 of getting the legendary red t-shirt was a success, but I had to practice extremely hard for the rest of the week. And during this week, all I could think about were the tryouts. When I was sitting in math class, I was just thinking basketball. When I was sitting in drama class or science class or whatever else pointless high school classes that I was in, the only thing that I had on my mind was basketball. So after 4 long days, it was finally Friday morning. And I remember waking up that morning and I was so nervous and anxious and really tired because I was so nervous for the whole thing that I barely slept the night before. So it was 5 p.m. and I arrived to the tryouts. There were 3 things that stood out to me. The first thing that I noticed was that there were only 14 people there who were trying out for the team. And for those of you who don't know much about basketball, there are usually only 12 people who make the team, which meant only 2 people were getting cut. And the second thing that I noticed was that there was a player there that I hated. And for the sake of the story, we're gonna call him Blake. And Blake was a very good basketball player, but he had one of the worst attitudes that a guy or a person could ever have. Blake was the type of guy who felt good when he made other people feel bad. Like, let's say someone was drinking at a high school party for the first time, and maybe he drank too much and he puked in the bathroom. And of course, he would be embarrassed by this and he wouldn't want people to know about it. But Blake was the type of guy who would make a point of informing the entire party that he did in fact puke. If there was someone leaving the party, Blake would say, "Hey, before you go, just know that Jimmy puked in the bathroom and he's super embarrassed by it. See you later." He's that guy. So immediately I knew it was going to be an interesting weekend. And the third thing, and most important thing that I noticed were the glorious, magnificent, red t-shirts that were just sitting right on the stage. The tryouts began, and right from the beginning, it was really competitive. Everybody there wanted to desperately make the team, and nobody wanted to be one of the 2 people who got cut. If I could summarize the tryouts in 3 words, it would be intensity, anger, and passion. The tryouts were 3 days long, so obviously I'm not going to give you a play-by-play of everything that happened, but believe me when I say it was a grueling few days, literally filled with blood, sweat, and tears. It's now Sunday afternoon and the tryouts are over. I had felt pretty good about my performance. I certainly felt like I had done enough to make the team, but I did not play my very best. But the unique thing about these tryouts were that you found out the same day if you made the team. So I was going to find out on Sunday after I had just finished playing if I was going to make the team or not. So everyone is exhausted, bloody, sweaty, and we're all laying down on the gym floor. And we all were very anxiously waiting to find out if we had made the team or not. So we would sit there and the coach would call us over one by one and he would tell us if we had made the team or not. And I remember sitting there on the gym floor watching everybody walk over to the coach. But the only thing that I could really notice was that so far every single person had received the red t-shirt, which meant everybody had made the team so far. So I'm thinking to myself, are they really gonna save the 2 people who didn't make the team for last? Like they're gonna call over the 12 people who made the team and then they're gonna save those 2 sorry, depressed people who didn't make the team. So at this point, I'm just desperately hoping that I hear my name called. And then after 6 people were called, I hear my name. And immediately I feel good because I'm thinking to myself, okay, this probably means that I made the team. So I get up and I start walking over. And I remember I was filled with anxiety, excitement, nervousness, and it was all wrapped up into one emotion. This was the moment that I had been working towards. This was the moment that I had been thinking about for the past 6 months. So I took a deep breath. I look at the coach. And before I could say a single word, he turns to me and says, "So, what size t-shirt do you want?" And I paused for a moment in absolute shock. I thought to myself, oh my God, I had made the team. I did it. I finally was about to receive the red shirt of status, man. I had finally achieved the goal. So, with a huge smile on my face, I proudly said, "I'll take a large, please." I was so proud in this moment. That is, until he turned to me and said, "Mitch, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this week, but I can assure you that this story is just getting started and it gets much, much, much more interesting in part 2. Just a really quick channel update. On January 1st of 2019, I'm going to be changing the name of the channel to my actual name, which is Mitch Manly. So the next time I upload, which will be probably in 2 to 3 weeks, it'll be under Mitch Manly. This doesn't mean the type of content I'm going to create is going to change at all. It's just a name change. I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.